Hola muchachos, buenas tardes. Okay, so I'm just going to go over some of the highlights from your Chapter 2 exam. This is some feedback that will hopefully give you some explanation as to why you got some questions incorrect, why you lost some points, and also hopefully this will help provide you some good feedback for when you take your midterm this week. The first one I wanted to look at was this question number 9. This is the possessive adjective, so the my, your, his, her, our, their. And the question asks, ¿Cómo es la casa de ustedes? The key word here, la palabra clave, keyword, is ustedes in the question. What does ustedes mean? Ustedes means y'all. Okay? So if it means y'all, and I ask you the question, what is y'all's house like? In English, what would you say back? Hey, what is your house like? What is y'all's house like? Plural. What is y'all's house like? What are you going to say back? Yeah. What is our house is small. What is y'all's house like? Our house is small. So which one of those options would mean our house? Okay? All right, so let's roll on to the next one. This one right here. Question 16. So I'm moving you up. I'm stepping you up into level of difficulty. Here you have a paragraph, but I'm giving you two verb choices in parentheses. You got a point for choosing the right verb, and you got half a point for choosing the right verb and half a point for the correct conjugation. All right, muchachos, eso fue súper importante. An important thing to remember here is that you have to conjugate. All right, some of y'all chose the correct verb and put the verb into the blank, but you didn't conjugate that verb, okay? The verbs need to be conjugated. Okay, even if you conjugated the verb correctly, but you chose the wrong verb, you conjugated it correctly, but chose the wrong verb, I gave you half a point. I went back and gave you half a point. If you chose the correct verb, but you conjugated it incorrectly, likewise, I went back and gave you half a point. So, like I said, each blank is worth 1 point. A half a point for the correct verb, half a point for the correct verb conjugation. So you want to go back and look at your score on Chapter 2 exam, because your score may have improved a little bit. I may have given you some points back on this particular question. All right, so question number 17. This was the doozy. This was the one that if you lost the points, it was probably in this particular section. And it is, like I said, I'm stepping you up into level of difficulties. Now you have a paragraph. I'm not giving you verb choices in parentheses behind each blank. Now you have a verb bank. All right, a verb bank. Muchachos, this is about strategy. The very first thing you should do is you should define each one of those verbs in the verb bank. So while you're taking your test, you need a sheet of paper. And on your sheet of paper, you need to define each one. You look at desear. What does desear mean? It means to desire, to want. Enseñar. What does enseñar mean? It means to teach. Estudiar, to study, and so on. Once you have them all defined, then you can go put them into the paragraph. Place those verbs into the blanks where they make the most sense. After you've placed them into the paragraph, into the story where they make a sense, then you go back and you conjugate them. Okay? But you can't read the story first and then go back and pick up a verb. You've got to know what the verbs mean. Because then once you go back and look at the story, you can pick out cognates, or words that we know, that we learned in our vocabulary, that would be associated with a verb. Okay? So for example, if we're looking right here at the 4th line, química. Química means chemistry. So you probably are either going to teach chemistry, study chemistry, or take chemistry. Those are your three options. So you start narrowing down. Okay? This one's all about strategy. All right, like here, to the house, a la casa, to the house. You can return to the house. You can arrive to the house. You can travel to the house. Three options. Start narrowing down, okay? So that's all about the strategy in that one. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Y'all did pretty well on all of these. Bonus points right here. This was simply a question of having that handout that I gave you. We did one of these in class. We talked about the importance of the two last names, los dos apellidos hispanos, and we did a practice with a wedding invitation. As long as you had that handout with you when you were taking this exam, it should have been pretty straightforward. Okay, so make sure you always have your materials with you when you take your quiz or your test, all right? And muchachos, last thing, muy importante. I noticed the majority of you only took one attempt on your chapter exam. Chapter exams, you have 2 attempts, muchachos. Two attempts. You need to make sure you take advantage of both attempts. Okay? Also, the chapter exams are not meant to penalize. They're meant to test your knowledge and prepare you for the midterm and the final exam. So if you get to a portion of your chapter exam, like right here, and you're like, question 17, whoa, ruh-roh, this looks difficult, que es muy difícil. Muchachos, take a picture of it. Or look at the verbs. Or write down the verbs. Or whatever it is you need to do so that when you're done with this attempt, you can go back and work this problem with your free time. When you have more time to look up words, when you have time to really think about the verbs you want to use, think about the verb conjugations, and then after you've worked that problem, come back to your second attempt and really put that knowledge into place. All right? But the key here is that you have to work the problem. You cannot take a picture of this and then run it through Google Translate or give it to your best friend Pablo and have him do it for you. Because if you didn't take the opportunity to work the problem, to figure out how to do this particular question, when this question comes up on your midterm and your final exam, when you're taking a proctored exam, you won't have your best friend Pablo or your sister-in-law who majored in Spanish in college. You won't have that. You won't have them with you. You won't have your second attempt. So use these as kind of like, use your chapter exams as tools to help build your skills. Okay? So don't be ashamed to use your resources and use your second attempt. In fact, that's what they are there for. All right, muchachos? So I'm also going to try to create like a review kind of study guide thing for you guys in MindTap. As soon as I have that available to you, I will post an announcement in D2L. But hopefully this helps. If y'all have any questions about your Chapter 2 exam grade, please email me. I can give you more specific feedback if you have any questions that are particularly pertinent to your exam and your grade. And again, look at your score because that may have changed because I did go back and award points where I could. All right? So, okay, muchachos. Ciao, ciao.